When a woman realizes she's truly lost you, something inside her shifts in a way she didn't expect. At first, she was confident. She believed you'd always be there, always responding, always ready to fix things the moment she pulled away. She thought your heart was a guarantee, that your effort was unlimited, that your presence was permanent. But the moment you stopped chasing, the moment you stopped reacting to every emotional high and low she created, that confidence began to crumble. Suddenly, she isn't the one in control anymore. The silence she once thought she could handle now feels heavier than anything she's ever carried. And she starts to realize the truth. She misjudged you. She thought you were weak emotionally, but the strength you're showing now is something she never saw coming. You have to understand something. Women don't panic when you walk away. They panic when they can't feel you anymore. They panic when the emotional tether they once had over your life suddenly snaps. The shift begins slowly. She starts wondering why your energy feels different, why you aren't reaching out, why you aren't chasing validation or begging for reassurance, why you aren't reacting to her distance like you used to. And the more she thinks about it, the more her mind spirals into that place she hoped she'd never go. Did he finally give up on me? This is the moment her confidence breaks, her attitude changes, her tone softens, and everything she once took for granted becomes something she desperately tries to regain. It's not because she suddenly became a better person. It's because she underestimated how strong you could become once you stopped giving her the emotional power she had over you. The funny thing is, most women never realize the value of a man's presence until that presence isn't there to comfort them anymore. And when she can't predict your next move, when she can't feel your attachment, when she can't sense your emotional investment the way she used to, that's when panic mode hits her fully. She starts replaying old conversations, questioning her choices, wondering if pushing you away was the biggest mistake she ever made. She doesn't tell you this directly, of course. She hides it behind passive actions, quiet reactions, and subtle shifts in behavior. Maybe she views your stories more often. Maybe she slows down her own posts because she's thinking too much. Maybe she stops flaunting her independence because the person she wants to notice her has gone silent. Her behavior becomes a reflection of her internal conflict. Pride telling her not to reach out, fear telling her she has to, and regret telling her she might have already waited too long. This is the stage where she starts losing herself trying to regain you. And it all began the moment she realized the man she once believed she controlled is no longer affected by her absence. That's when she knows she didn't just lose a person. She lost the version of herself she felt powerful with. And once that realization hits, her entire behavior starts shifting in ways she never expected. When she knows she's lost you, the way she starts treating you becomes a subtle combination of regret, curiosity, and a quiet kind of desperation that she tries hard to hide. At first, she may act as if nothing has changed, posting confidently, pretending to be unfazed, showing the world she's fine, but internally, she's studying you closely. She watches how you move, how you respond, how you carry yourself without her influence. She notices the calm in you that wasn't there before. She notices how her absence doesn't shake you like it used to. And that's when she begins treating you differently, not because she suddenly learned something new about herself, but because your new energy forces her to see you through a completely different lens. She starts treating you with a level of respect she didn't show when she believed she still had emotional control. The tone she once used, the attitude she once applied, the casual disregard she once deployed, they start fading. She becomes more careful with her words, more mindful of her presence around you. It's not intentional kindness. It's self-protection. She doesn't want to push you further away than she already has, and that fear makes her soften in ways you might not expect. She may not apologize outright, but the way she speaks becomes slower, gentler, less confrontational. She tests the waters to see if the door is still cracked open just a little. She pays attention to the things she used to ignore. Your boundaries, your silence, your standards, things she once brushed aside, now carry weight. She starts remembering the small things you used to do for her, and she finds herself quietly missing them, missing the security, missing the support, missing the version of herself who felt valued because you were the one valuing her. And even if she tries to stay composed, internally she's dealing with a storm of emotions that push her to act differently toward you. Her curiosity becomes one of the biggest motivators in her behavior. She becomes unusually observant. She watches how you interact with others, especially other women. It bothers her in ways she won't express. Every time she sees you looking more confident, more grounded, more detached, she feels a tightening in her chest that she didn't feel back when she assumed she could snap her fingers and you'd come running. Now she treats you with caution because she doesn't know if she still matters to you. And uncertainty is a feeling she hates more than anything. At times she might even overcompensate. She might act strangely nice, oddly supportive, overly sweet, trying to recreate the connection she once felt so secure with. But beneath that surface is the same fear, that her chance with you may be slipping out of her hands forever. She treats you better not because she changed instantly, but because losing you forced her to confront something she avoided, her own accountability, her own behavior, her own choices. And in this shift, what she's really trying to figure out is whether the door she walked away from is still open, or whether you've already closed it for good. And as that uncertainty grows, her behavior continues to change in ways she never expected to show. When she knows she's lost you, one of the biggest shifts that happens inside her is the sudden realization that your absence has created a space she can't easily fill, and that space starts to bother her more than she expected. This is when her mind kicks into a different gear. Instead of assuming you'll always be there, always waiting, always ready to fix things, she begins to feel the weight of your silence. That silence becomes louder than anything you could have ever said. It becomes the mirror she didn't want to look into. And through that silence, she begins noticing things she never paid attention to before. Your strength, your value, your consistency, and especially the emotional presence you used to offer so freely. As she reflects, she begins to remember the small things she overlooked, the way you listened when she talked about her bad days, the way you understood her moods better than even her closest friends, the way you offered stability without making her feel trapped. These memories hit her slowly at first, then all at once, coming back at the most unexpected moments when she's alone, when something reminds her of you, when she sees traits in others that you had, but they don't, and with every reminder, she starts to feel a quiet regret forming inside her, the kind that makes her wonder why she didn't appreciate what she had when she had it. She also begins comparing you not intentionally at first, but unconsciously. She notices how other men don't respond with the patience you did, how others don't communicate with your maturity, how their attention doesn't feel as genuine, as steady, or as safe. And with every comparison, she finds herself drawn back toward the stability you once provided, not because she wants to use you again, but because your presence created a sense of emotional grounding she didn't even realize she depended on. That's the moment she begins to understand the difference between attention and connection, something she might not have recognized when she felt secure in your place in her life. Her ego fights this realization at first. She doesn't want to admit, even to herself, that losing you was a mistake. She doesn't want to acknowledge that her actions contributed to the distance, but your absence creates a shift she cannot escape. She starts wondering what you're thinking, how you're feeling, whether you've moved on or simply chosen to protect your peace. Her mind becomes more active, more curious, more uncertain, and that uncertainty makes her treat you with newfound respect because she no longer knows where she stands. Eventually, this internal battle pushes her into a place she never expected to be, quietly missing you, silently replaying memories, and subtly questioning her decisions. It's not that she suddenly changed. It's that your disappearance forced her to reflect in ways she avoided before. And in that reflection, she realizes losing you wasn't just losing a person. It was losing a version of life she never thought she'd miss. When she knows she's lost you, one of the most revealing things you'll notice is how her tone, her energy, and even her approach toward you begin to shift. This shift doesn't come from love alone. It comes from fear. Fear of losing something she didn't appreciate when she had it. When you disappear and stop feeding the connection, she starts feeling something she didn't expect, imbalance. Suddenly, she isn't the one deciding how things go. She isn't the one in control of the emotional dynamic anymore. And that loss of control makes her behave differently. The same woman who once acted distant, distracted, uninterested, or unbothered begins to act more thoughtful, more careful, even more fragile around you. It's not that she becomes a completely different person. It's that your shift created a requirement for hers. She starts choosing her words more wisely. Instead of snapping, criticizing, or acting annoyed, she becomes gentle, even cautious, because she doesn't want to push you further away. She knows you're no longer reacting emotionally, so she realizes she has to approach you differently if she wants to be heard. You'll see the difference in her messages, the way she texts shorter but more meaningful things, or the way she avoids conflict because she's afraid any tension could make you disappear again. She might reach out subtly at first, liking your posts, replying to stories, sending a small check-in message, anything that feels safe enough not to expose her ego, but clear enough to pull your attention back, and every tiny action she takes is driven by the same quiet thought: I don't want to lose him completely. She also becomes more agreeable. The woman who once challenged everything you said, or who acted like your presence was optional, suddenly seems more cooperative, more open, more willing to listen. She's not doing this to manipulate you. She's doing it because she realizes the dynamic has changed. When a woman knows she's truly lost a man, and not just temporarily upset him, her behavior softens. She becomes kinder because your absence humbled her. She becomes more respectful because losing your presence showed her the value of it. And the deeper she feels this shift, the more she tries to stabilize the connection in whatever small ways she can. She might bring up old memories, revisit moments you shared, or show unexpected vulnerability. She may not come out with a full apology immediately. Her pride may still be protecting her, but you'll see her trying. You'll see her choosing connection over conflict, understanding over attitude, effort over ego. And in those moments, it becomes clear that she isn't just missing you. She's realizing that the way she treated you before doesn't match the way she feels now. Her actions reveal more truth than her words ever did, because when a woman knows she's lost you, she can't hide her shift. It shows up in every look, every message, every choice she makes around you. And in that shift, she silently admits what she couldn't say before. Losing you changed her more than she expected. When she knows she's lost you, something powerful happens inside her mind. She starts replaying everything she did wrong. Not just the last argument, not just the final moment between you two, but the entire timeline of how she treated you. This reflection isn't calm or logical. It's emotional, heavy, and full of I should've and why did I? Because when a woman realizes the man who once cared deeply is no longer chasing, arguing, trying, or fixing everything like he used to, she suddenly feels the full weight of her own behavior. And that's when regret begins to settle in. She starts thinking about the times she dismissed you, the times she assumed you'd always be there, the times she took your affection and effort for granted. Those moments don't just float by, they bother her, they replay like echoes. She hears words she said that she shouldn't have said, feels coldness she gave that she shouldn't have given, and sees clearly the little things she ignored or brushed off that now look like huge mistakes. It's not that she didn't know you cared before. She knew. It's that she didn't think your care could run out. But now, with your silence, she finally understands that love isn't unlimited. Your patience wasn't guaranteed. Your presence wasn't promised. She starts connecting the dots she ignored. She remembers the effort you once put in, the times you reached out, the times you tried to understand her, the times you swallowed your own pride just to keep the relationship balanced. She remembers how calm you were during moments when she was emotional or impulsive. And she realizes that the stability you brought wasn't something every man offers. She begins to see the difference between your consistency and her inconsistency, your commitment and her complacency. This internal reflection isn't just painful for her, it's revealing. She starts understanding how her attitude, her distancing, or her taking you for granted built a slow path to where you are now. And in that realization, something hits her harder than anything else. You didn't walk away because you stopped caring. You walked away because she stopped valuing it. Regret becomes a quiet but constant companion for her. It shows up when she's alone. It shows up late at night. It shows up when someone else doesn't treat her the way you did. It shows up in her mind as a comparison she never meant to make, but can't stop making. And that regret begins to create a sense of loss far deeper than the breakup or the separation itself, because now she understands what she had, and she understands that she was the one who pushed it away, and with that understanding comes humility. She softens, she reflects, and she begins to think about what she would do differently if she ever had another chance. She may not say it out loud, but she feels it, and it lingers. Because nothing humbles a woman more than realizing she lost the man who was truly there for her. Because she didn't value him when it mattered. When a woman realizes she's truly lost you, something shifts inside her that she didn't expect. She starts to feel a pressure she never felt when you were available, when you were calling, when you were checking in, when you were the one holding the emotional connection together. And that pressure only increases the moment she feels even slightly that another woman might be stepping into the space she once occupied effortlessly. That's when everything inside her changes. That's when you see a version of her you never saw when she believed she had you secured. Suddenly, she starts to remember everything about you with a new level of clarity. The way you talked to her, the way you listened, the way you made her feel safe, the way you understood her in ways she didn't even understand herself. These memories aren't just nostalgia anymore. They become reminders of what she is now at risk of losing to someone else. And that realization is powerful because women are deeply competitive when it comes to love, especially when they feel they're losing a man who once poured into them. She begins comparing herself to the imaginary woman she thinks may have your attention. She imagines a woman who's more feminine, more appreciative, more supportive, more excited to have you. And she automatically begins measuring herself against that image. And the more she compares, the more she feels the need to elevate her behavior. She doesn't want to admit she's competing, but internally she is. If she once acted distant, now she acts warm. If she once gave minimal effort, now she puts in real effort. If she once ignored you, now she notices everything, because now it feels like something is at stake. She may start messaging more, replying faster, initiating conversations she never used to initiate, trying to match the energy she once took for granted. She becomes more careful with her tone, more thoughtful with her words, more respectful of your boundaries. The woman who once brushed you off now analyzes every text 3 times to make sure she doesn't ruin her chances. And the reason is simple. Losing you to another woman, after losing you through her own behavior, feels like a defeat she never saw coming. This shift often surprises men because it's the first time they see her acting like she actually values them. Not because she suddenly discovered something new, but because your absence forced her to see the importance of what she ignored. Women don't like losing to their own mistakes, but they hate losing to another woman even more. And when she believes someone else might be benefiting from the emotional, mental, and romantic investment you're no longer giving her, she steps up in ways she never did before. She tries to be kinder, more feminine, more consistent. She might even try to rebuild connection through vulnerability, opening up about things she never shared before, revealing feelings she once hid, trying to show softness instead of pride. It's her way of proving that she deserves back the version of you she never appreciated while she had it. And sometimes this is the moment you finally understand the truth. It wasn't that she was incapable of treating you right. She just didn't think she needed to, until she realized she wasn't the only option anymore, because nothing motivates a woman to act right faster than the fear of being replaced by someone who finally recognizes your worth